going to move on. Each year, Kitchen and Bath Business Magazine, the official publication of NKBA and KBIS, names the KBB Person of the Year. This competition honors those who are passionate, innovative, and influencing the kitchen and bath industry in a positive way. Today, I'm so pleased to introduce Chelsie Butler, Executive Editor of KBB, who will interview this year's KBB Person of the Year, the very passionate, accomplished, and always fun Cheryl Kees Clendenon. Let's welcome Chelsie and Cheryl to the stage.
I'm trying. I'm going to try. We need a table or something here.
I know. I was just saying we should have wine for this.
Yeah.
Or at least you all should have wine for this.
I know. I tried to get this moved to the hotel lobby
hotel
bar because I thought that would be a lot more interesting of a talk, but apparently KBIS said no to that. So.
Well, thank you all for being here with me and Cheryl.
I should throw this out to the stage.
As you just learned, Cheryl was our 2021 Person of the Year. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. That's very exciting.
For many reasons, but I just wanted to take a minute to just tell you all how I met her. It was several years ago, I believe, at one of our first editorial advisory board meetings for the magazine, and ever since, she has been a complete and total advocate for our magazine. You've been sending me projects from other designers. One of your designer friends was our Person of the Year a couple years ago. She writes for the magazine. She comes to our meetings. She's a huge advocate, and that's not why you won. But
Okay. Now I know.
It helps. But yeah, so I think there was absolutely nobody more deserving than you for the award. So
thank you.
All right, so we'll get to know Cheryl a little bit. So just, since we're at KBIS, how has it been for you so far?
If you want to go get the wine now, that's probably a good idea. It's been great. I think everybody feels the same. I've not run into anybody yet that doesn't have a certain level of excitement and everything about being here. I mean, we're here with people, with friends, seeing old friends, but seeing new things too. Like, I'm really excited, and I'm sure my team is very annoyed by all the pictures we keep sending back. Look at this. Did you see that? How about this for so-and-so? And this morning, I sent some things to our operations manager, who is a very Liz. Everybody knows Liz because I talk about her all the time in my Facebook group. But she said, we can't do that. We have to have that project done by April. Rah, 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 rah. And I'm like, okay, killjoy. But I think she's just jealous she's not here. But it's really been exciting, fun.
Yeah.
See it all. I mean, I'm not, BSing here when I say I've seen a lot of really cool things, some really cool stuff.
Yeah, we're just not even halfway through, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So as I was saying before, you do a tremendous job of promoting other designers in the industry. How did you get started with that? Did somebody do that for you when you were just starting out, or?
I think so. I've been fortunate enough to work with several brands, with SKS on their design council currently. I've worked with Silestone, DXV, Blanco Sinks, and how I got the Silestone thing in the first place was because somebody I didn't know very well had heard me talk and say things, and she put my name in the hat for that, and it was a fabulous opportunity. And so I think that's part of it, is kind of giving back to people that have helped me. But also, I think that designers in general and a lot of small business owners aren't very on top of marketing because they're doing all the things and wearing all the hats. And so sometimes that's something that gets left by the wayside. And I think that people don't realize how easy it really is to do your own marketing if you just show up and go for it and things like that. So that's what I'm always encouraging, is people to enter the competitions. Enter the, anything you see something for a vendor that says, put your pictures on here and you can win something, or whatever, do it, because that marketing is so great for later on. You can ride that home for a long time, because homeowners, consumers, don't always know that this is, an industry thing, or it's an industry publication or whatever. They're seeing the fact that you're putting yourself out there. And I think overall, people don't show up enough. And that's what I call it, from a previous boss who told, when I was in media and radio and television, he said to me, 80% of success is showing up, which is a Woody Allen quote. And it's always been something I've gone through and embraced, because I think it's just going for it. And too many times, people don't think that they're, I'm not going to win, or that's not going to be me, or whatever. And I think it's great. I think it's great to be able to do that.
Well, you're not going to win if you don't put yourself out there.
That's exactly right.
I mean,
but sometimes we need to be pushed and nagged. I'm a very good nag. So in my Facebook group and things like that, I'm always nagging. Here's a contest. Here's a competition. Put it out there. I've seen your work. You can do this. Do it. And then people do it. And we've had somebody, Glenda Evers, that got into the Lux Awards, won something, and she goes, the only reason I did it is because you nagged Cheryl about it. I was going to shut you up. So I entered, and I put somebody up that I thought was really great for 30 under 30, and she got it, and she was over the moon. And to be able to have somebody, the excitement that she showed me after she got notified of that was amazing. It's addictive. It really is, giving that back to somebody else. Don't think I don't want to be published myself, though, because of course that's great, but it is something at this point in my career I think that's really important to me.
So I want to go on to a funny story. So tell the audience the story about the Damn Good Designer accreditation.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, my business cards, my appellation, my thing is DGD. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, in the last 12 years that I've done this, not one person, other than another designer or somebody, has asked me what it means, okay? And I love it when they do, because then I can tell them, what it means. But a while ago, 12 years ago, I had a client that was being kind of a jerk, nobody ever has those, but, and he was talking about something, and he said to me, if you don't do this, this, and this, you're not going to work on my next house. And so, I kind of got the kind of feeling on it, and I said, you're working with a damn good designer right now, and you don't know it, and you all of a sudden can't afford me. And I turned around and walked off. It was like one of those great moments that you wish you were like on a reality TV show, someone was filming this crap, They're like, wow, why was I not having a camera on my head or something for this? But it's really funny. And so after that, I was going to Germany with Blanco, and there was some talk about maybe Germans weren't the most humorous, of group of people, these kind of weird cultural things that people say that really make no sense whatsoever. But somebody was saying that, I said, well, I'm going to put that on my cards, and I'm going to go with it, and I did. And then when I got there, I got so much positive, they just busted up laughing, these people. They would ask me about it because I just had the cards and all that. So I kept it. And I've been at, and now if you see me in a magazine or quoted or something, it'll say Cheryl Kees Clendenon, DGD, And every time that happens, it makes me laugh. And I don't know, sometimes I think it's the little things in our industry. It's there's so many moving parts. There's so much to do all the time. I don't think people outside really understand. I know my husband doesn't always understand it. And I think you have to almost be in the industry to really understand everything that we do. So if you can grab a little humor somewhere, then I think it's great. It's great to do. It's the same thing, and I just handed this to a couple of people I know. And one of the things I do late at night, now this is going to be on video for everybody to know, is if I am really in one of those kind of moods where you've just had a really sucky day or whatever, I will take little pithy statements and I will put them on a pen. You can buy these at Vistaprint, for pretty cheap. This one says, the price is the price, And everybody should have a pen like this and sort of hand it to your client to sign the contract with or whatever. I've got some other pretty good ones too. Maybe some of them I shouldn't say what they say on here, but it's always been one of those things that just gives me a laugh. And I think, and that's how the DGD thing came around. It was like, it made me laugh.
Yeah, it definitely suits you.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I'm sure there are some millennial, younger designers just starting out at the show, or you all are working with some. What is a piece of advice that you can give to somebody just starting out in the industry?
I had a really good one for this that I just said to Courtney Zanelli a few minutes ago, and I said, that's great for this, and now I can't, of course, remember it, but I think it'll come to me in a minute. But I think part of it is, because Courtney, to give her a big shout out, there's Courtney right there, she won the, oh yeah, thank you, Courtney. But just to say, Courtney was the small bath traditional first place winner at the NKBA. So she kitchen, not bathroom, kitchen, damn, I almost got all those things right. And she showed up, right? She showed up. She's busy as heck. I know, because I know Courtney. I know how busy she is, but yes, she took the time on vacation, she tells me, to submit that, to do that final submission. And they do ask you for a lot of stuff, so it is a lot of work. But so that would be one thing, to show up. And what I mean by that is just what I was saying earlier, is that you need to go for it and to put yourself out there. If you have a body of work and you have things that are in there, don't think that, oh, this isn't good enough, or I don't have time, or whatever. Make the time and do that. The other thing that Courtney just reminded me of was, a lot of people struggle with systems, and again, we go back to all the moving parts that we have in interior design and kitchen and bath world, the whole 9 yards. There are a million moving parts, especially designing kitchens and bathrooms. And I don't think there's always even a lot of respect from other subs and people in the industry that don't realize how many, like, this happens, then that happens, and that happens, and this happens. And if this doesn't happen, then this down here has to, you have to reevaluate the whole thing. So I think part of that is having a system in place. So for young designers to follow, we have 3 young designers right now on board, so this is very topic for us, because Libby and Liz and I, the core design team, can do everything kind of in our heads, right? That doesn't work when you have younger designers. So one of the things that I'm thinking of, and I was just telling Courtney, is that you start with a system, but don't worry about, because people get in their head, especially creative people, they get in their head. Don't worry about the system being perfect right off the bat. Just write 10 things. I get up, and then I do this, and then I do that. And then later on, I do that, and then I do this. And then just write it out, and then go and start filling in the blanks. Okay, so that's exactly how we do it, and it's also a living, breathing thing. Your process is going to change, so don't get to be one of those people that says, my process is like this, because this is not a static industry. So, and when you hire people, we hire for skills and we hire for personality. So sometimes we'll hire people, and then their particular skill set does not always jive exactly with parts of the process, so we may adapt a little bit. So, and I'm not saying you change it every time someone comes, because of course that's not the idea, it's just the opposite. But you do have to adapt a little bit with your team if you want a successful team. You have to be able to respect their skill set and what they bring to the table, but also, making sure that it's within your process. But the key thing is, and what I was telling Courtney, is just you need to start somewhere. And if you just start writing out, scribbling right now, this is what I do, then this is what I do, and having it written down, and then you go in and start deep diving on each section, you are going to then have your process outlined. And that is how you go, you hire people, which I think is one of your questions, is you have to have a process to be able to hire people. And if you don't, then you're going to be frustrated as all get out. And I deal with designers every day that are in the same level. They're frustrated by their team. And I always say, no, whoa. Is that your team's fault? Is that your employee's fault? Or is it because you don't have a clear-cut system? And you have to ask yourself that as an owner of a company or a lead designer or anything, is where am I complicit in this breakdown of communication, and this breakdown of the problem? Because generally, and it took me more years than I care to admit to realize this, okay? I'm 22 years in the business now, and it took me quite a few to realize it wasn't them, it was usually me. And that, what I mean by that is the process itself needs to be very detailed and outlined, but also with some flexibility. So I say it's a living, breathing document, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you have the same thing in your processes.
Yeah.
Tell us about your processes. No, I'm just...
So I know one of your daughters, at least, is here.
There she is right there.
Yeah.
The tall blonde in the second row. That's her.
So my next question is about that. So I want to know what's one great thing about working with family, and then what's one challenge?
Just picking one of each of those is
well,
probably going to be difficult. But I think it's great. I mean, I feel like I'm a small business advocate, okay? And that's part of the reason that Chelsie said I was selected for this, is because I'm a small business advocate all the time. And that's all small businesses. But I really believe in the whole idea of small business in general. And I think that as an outgrowth of that, having a family small business is really pretty epic, And I always wanted a business that was not about me. That's why I named it In Detail Interiors instead of Cheryl Kees at the time, I have several names, but that was the one at the time, interior design or kitchens and baths or whatever. I didn't want to do that because of this idea. Now, I didn't know at the time when they were 4 and 6 that both of them would end up working for me after they've gone out and done some of their own thing and learned a little bit about the world and graduate from college. But I think it's really great to have them there. So the thing is, I get to see them every day. That's like the great thing. That also is maybe not the challenge, is that I get to see them every day. So I'm a very compartmentalized kind of thinker. So when I go to work, they are my team. They are not really, my daughter. I mean, sometimes there will be things, but I try to keep that on a level like this because I have a lot of people at the same age and that sort of thing that are in my business. So we really don't, it's never really been an issue with anybody or anything like that, but I do think, like, hey, you need to get this done, blah, 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 oh, by the way, did you have a good time last night? Okay, that's great, and I move on because that's how it is. So I think and the challenge probably mostly is between the two of the sisters because they're 23 months apart. And so and one is in the business end who thinks, you're gonna pay $200 for a pillow? Are you crazy? That's insane. Why do our clients pay that? And I'm like, $200? Are you kidding me? That's more like $400. I mean, it's, what do you mean, And so there's a lot of that kind of thing on the older one's end that it is for Libby, who's on the design end. So I think sometimes there's that disconnect with them on things, but overall everybody gets along. I did move Libby out of the office with her sister and another person because it got to be a little, territorial with older sister, younger sister thing.
Well, I like what you said earlier about, if somebody comes into your firm with a specific set of goals, skill set, this and that you, you often find, maybe not often, but maybe they're a better fit for another role. Like, how does that process work? How do you figure that out?
That's a really good question and kind of a hard one to answer, except that I think, first of all, I would say that when we hire, because I get a lot of questions about hiring, you get to a certain stage and you're like, okay, I'm swamped. And my contention is that designers in general, whether you're K&B or whether you're an interior designer or whatever, do not hire soon enough. I will say this often and loudly. I don't think they wait until they're drowning and they're like, looking for a lifeline, and like, I need to hire somebody. Yeah, well, you should have been doing that before, so you had all your processes in place and so all this was going on. So I think that's, part of the issue there. But when we hire, we are hiring for a particular personality type and a particular skill set, but not really super specific. Now, if I need somebody, I have 2 people that do drawings now. If I need somebody for that, then of course I'm going to look for that specific skill, of course. But overall, we're looking for people that are sponges and that want to learn, because we don't have a feeder school, so I don't have the luxury of hiring somebody that knows a lot about things coming into it. I wish I did, but I don't. I will look for someone who can sell, because if you can sell, you're never going to starve to death. And it is something really important in everybody's business. And in our business, you're selling every single day in some way or another. You're selling, okay? Whether you're selling your ideas to a client or selling yourself or selling products, because that's how we make the most money. All of that. So I look for those kinds of skills. But I think that once we see that somebody, after 90 days, and that's the thing I would say to everybody, if you're thinking about hiring here, is always don't look at it like, oh my God, I got to pay someone all this money for a year. No. Look at it for 90 days, okay? Because 90 days is much more manageable and it doesn't freak you out as much to think about having to do that. But once you get somebody in and they're not maybe good, and we have situations like this that happen, we will then put somebody in a different role to see what their skill set and what their relationship is. And I think that it also helps people, especially when they're young designers, to really discover what they like about it. And we have had many designers that have come through that have decided they really don't like design all that much. That they like the marketing end of it, or they like something else. So to me, to be able to kind of raise, so to speak, some of these younger designers, because again, that's typically what we end up with because of the nature of our city, is making sure that they understand or have a well-rounded background in all the things that we do, so that they understand the business end, because that's another one of my things, is that I don't think that people understand their business enough, the business end of it enough to really be able to be as effective and as successful as their potential is. So we will look and see, like, is this person better over here? Is this person better over here? But ultimately they do rotate through and understand, like, everybody learns QuickBooks because that's what we use. So everybody can do a PO, everybody can do an invoice. Doesn't mean they're going to do it all the time, but that's how it is. Everybody knows how to check in merchandise. You know, they need to look for the flaws. They need to know what's tolerable when we call the vendor, because, you know, right now we get people sometimes that say, hey, in our trade program, we'll be like, oh, this is a problem with this or that or whatever. And we're like, not really. You know, you may not have been buying very much from vendors, but that's not a problem. And we owe that to our vendors as a good partner to make sure that we're teaching people all of this. So that's what we do in-house too. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, that 25 minutes went by really fast. So let's wrap it up with letting us know what's new, what's up for you in the future.
God, that's the hardest question you've asked about it. We have a lot of different profit centers. I'm a serial entrepreneur, but I try to keep it all within one hat. So we have a lot of different things that we're doing. You know, Libby just opened up a candle studio at our shop, which has been really great. It's been great for marketing, getting people involved in our business, as well as you know, the money itself coming. I mean, I personally won't pay wholesale for candles, okay? So that my thought was like, no one's gonna pay that to come in here and make their own candle. I mean, come on. Well, sure enough, I was wrong about that, and people will do that. So that's been really a great add-on to our retail end of it. And I think that I right now do maybe 30%. On the coaching and the business end of it. We have a Facebook group, Small Business Think Big. If nobody is in it, please request to join Small Business Think Big on Facebook. It's a great group, I promise you. It's very much led by me. It's focused on business primarily. And then do more of that. So 70-30 right now, 70 design and running the business and all the businesses. 30% on the working with designers, and I really enjoy it. I really do. I mean, it's a passion for sure on this small business and helping other people, you know, rise up and do what they need to do. And I'm tough, you know. So, you know, you don't want to hire me if you don't want to hear the truth, because I'm very well known for speaking the truth. Same thing in the group, but overall, I think that sometimes that's what people need.
Yeah. And part of your future endeavor should be sending us more project photos.
Yes, I do. I'm like an unofficial scout. I inserted myself into this role. Chelsea did not ask me to do this, but I saw some work in my subscription group that I have, and I was like, wow, this is really good, you know, and let me send it to Chelsea and see if she wants to do it. And so it's been really good to be able to do that. I enjoy that part of it too. That's the marketing, I think, background that I like to work on.
Well, good luck with everything, and congrats again for being the 2021 KBB Person of the Year.
It's quite the honor. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks. Great. Okay.